All right, welcome back to the Word on Pop Culture podcast. I'm Julian Spivey, the creator and editor of the Word on Pop Culture. You can find us online at thewordonpopculture.com. And please remember to like, rate, and review this podcast wherever you're listening to us from. The nominations for the 77th Annual Primetime Emmy Awards will be announced on Tuesday, July 15th. So I am joined today by Tyler Glover, frequent contributor to the Word on Pop Culture and the Word on Pop Culture podcast. And we're going to talk about some of the shows and actors and actresses who we would like to see nominated. So thank you, Tyler, for joining us tonight.
Yes, I'm super excited.
Awesome. So what we're going to do is we're not going to predict the nominees in the major categories. What we're going to do is we're going to tell you who we would have put on our ballots if we were voting for the Emmy Award nominations. So some of these shows, actors and actresses, are probably going to be locks to be nominated for the Emmys on Tuesday. Some of them are going to be kind of on the bubble, and then others stand absolutely no chance at all. They just are shows or performances that we particularly like and think should have a chance at being nominated, even if in reality they don't. So you got that, Tyler?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, so what we'll do, we'll start with the drama categories. And we are going to start with supporting actor in a drama. There will be 7 nominees in this category. There are more than 7 people who I think could easily be nominated, but I'm going to start off with a couple that I don't think stand a chance to be nominated. I just really liked their performances in their shows. And one of them is the guy who has actually won this category before, probably 20 years or so ago, and that is Michael Emerson. Michael Emerson played Leland Townsend for all 4 seasons on the supernatural horror drama Evil, which had most of its run on Paramount Plus. It originally started on CBS, and then they switched it over to Paramount Plus. And he, like the role he won his Emmy Award for on the TV show Lost, played just this devilishly horrible villain on the TV show Evil. And I think it's one that's a show that has been one of my favorites for years and has not really received any big nominations from the Emmys, and it ended last year. And I would love to see Michael Emerson have a shot, but I just don't think that's going to happen. Is that one that you've ever caught up with, Tyler?
No, that's one show I haven't ever watched yet.
Yeah, I think you would enjoy that one. It's a little bit scary, but I think you'd enjoy it. The other guy who has absolutely no shot at all is Kyle Schmid, who plays Special Agent Mike Franks on NCIS Origins, which recently wrapped its first season on CBS. It is one of the many spinoffs of NCIS. Actually, it is the prequel to NCIS, the origins of what was Mark Harmon's character on the show, Leroy Jethro Gibbs, and and Kyle Schmid, who plays Mike Franks, is kind of like the mentor to the young Gibbs on that show, and I think he puts forth an absolutely fantastic performance, even if this is a network procedural. So I would love to see him nominated, but there is. Out of all the people, all the names you're going to hear me say today, he probably stands the least chance at actually getting a nomination. So those are my 2 that have no shot at all. Before I get to my other 5, do you have any on your list who you would love to see nominated, but you just don't think they have a chance?
Yeah, so the one that probably fits that category the most in this category for me is his name is Lee Byung Hun from Squid Game.
Okay.
He plays the villain, the front man. And I think his performance is just so brilliant because unfortunately the writing doesn't really let us the storyline doesn't let us know as much as we probably would want to know about him. But what he's given, he does just so brilliantly with what he's given. And I just hate that he's never gotten any recognition for it because he was in the first season as well. So I just hate that he's kind of not been looked over because I think he's a really good, plays a villain really, really good. The only other one on my list that I could see not getting nominated, I feel like a lot of these stand a really good chance on my list. But the other one I would say probably is Matt Smith as who plays Daemon Targaryen on House of the Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
It's House of Dragon just isn't really resonating with voters. I think the way that Game of Thrones did. I don't think, and I think we'll see that on Tuesday as well. Like that, it's just not gonna. The first season kind of did okay, but I think that we're going to see a drop in the nominations quite a bit for season two. But I think that he plays the villain in this very complex character very well, and I've loved him since The Crown. Too, he was so good on The Crown too. So he's just he's just a really good actor, and I love watching him.
Yeah. So I've got 5 more nominees on my list, and there's 4 that I think are going to be nominated. So I'll name the one that I think has a small chance, but it's probably not going to happen. And it's also a guy who's won this category before. His name is John Lithgow. He won for playing Winston Churchill in the first season of the aforementioned The Crown. He plays a terrific role in the FX drama series The Old Man. Plays a second fiddle to Jeff Bridges in that show, and he is excellent. Unfortunately, FX canceled that series after only 2 seasons. It didn't get as much talk as its first season a couple years ago, so I don't think John Lithgow will be nominated, but he stands a better chance than Michael Emerson and Kyle Schmidt, also on my list. So that's one who has a little bit of a chance, but probably not going to happen. These next 4 people on my list, I think, are almost all locks. It's hard to say 4 people are locks when there's only 7 uh, spots, but I think all 4 of these guys are going to make it on Tuesday. The first 2 are from the White Lotus, and those are Walton Goggins and Jason Isaacs. And then the other 2 are from Apple TV Plus's Severance. And now there are more than 2 people on that show who I think are deserving of being nominated in this category. But the 2 that I have on my ballot are Tremel Tillman, who plays Milchick on the show, and John Turturro, who was nominated for the first season in this category. Do you have any of those names filling out your ballot in best support, an outstanding supporting actor in a drama series?
Yes, I actually have all 4.
Oh, okay. So that just leaves
Goggins,
one. That
Isaac,
just leaves
Tillman,
one
and
more
Turturro
person
are
on your
all on my
list.
list.
That just leaves one more person on your list. Then that for you to get to. So who would that be?
So the last one is also from Severance. I don't. He's a person that I could see left off, but I really hope he's not. And that's Zach Cherry, who plays
Mm-hmm.
Dylan George. I just think the scenes where he is like interacting, his innie is interacting with the Audie's wife, is just some of it just stayed with me for so long, and I would love for him to be nominated. And he's one I could see not getting there, but I would love for him to be in this category.
I think Zach Cherry has a good chance of being nominated. And I will say this: I kind of have him as an alternate on my list because I'm still catching up on the second season of Severance. I've only seen 3 episodes so far, so I'm a little bit. I'm not quite yet to halfway of the second season. So not only could Zach Cherry end up surpassing some of the people on my list, he could end up surpassing John Turturro or Tremel Tillman on my list because a lot of what I've got here for those guys is based on the first season of the show, since I've only seen the first 3 episodes of season 2. So best of luck to those guys. Do you have anything you want to add about Goggins or Isaacs from the White Lotus? Do you think that there's a chance that maybe somebody like Patrick Schwarzenegger could get a spot over somebody else?
I could, but it's just crazy though, because like I feel like with when they hired Patrick Schwarzenegger and with him having the big star dad, I kind of thought there would be more buzz around him, but there's just to me there's so many better performances than his, in the even in just the White Lotus,
Hmm.
let alone all of the television.
Now, when Sam Rockwell had his big monologue midway through the season of The White Lotus, people thought he was going to be a lock to win Best Guest Actor. But of course, there is a 50% rule. If you appear in 50% or more of the episodes of the season, you are not eligible for a guest actor. And he ended up appearing in exactly half of the episodes because he appeared. People thought that was just going to be a 1 episode thing for him, but he ended up appearing in half of the season. So a lot of people think that even though he's no longer eligible in guest actor, A lot of people expect to see his name on the supporting actor in a drama list, but you don't have him and I don't have him. Do you think he just didn't do enough?
It's really crazy because even though he was in 4 episodes, I feel like he didn't play such a profound role almost. Like, because I honestly didn't even realize he had hit 4. So
Yeah.
because it still seemed like, even though it just happened to fit in 4 episodes, I don't feel like it was actually 4 episodes worth of work, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I completely get it.
So it kind of it does feel almost like he should be in guest actor, even
Yeah.
even though he doesn't qualify with the rules. It feels like
Yeah.
that's where he should be.
He would have been an absolute lock to win that category. I kind of feel like Mike White should have edited him out of something so he could have an Emmy Award to go along with his Oscar.
Yeah, it's true.
All right, let's get to supporting actress in a drama series. And Tyler and I recently wrote our wish list for who we would love to see nominated for Emmy Awards. And I put one on my list that I think was a little bit mean. I would like to see the actresses from HBO Max's The Pit dominate this category, when in the past this category has been dominated by actresses from HBO's The White Lotus. I didn't think the third season of The White Lotus was anything special, even though I did put Isaacs and Goggins on my supporting actor list. But what I think has been the best television show of 2025 so far, of the ones, of course, that I finished, so this doesn't include Severance and some others, is The Pit. And the supporting actresses in this show are incredible. So I've got 4 supporting actresses from The Pit on my list. And honestly, that doesn't even include Catherine Lanessa, who's probably the favorite of The Pit supporting actresses to be nominated. And it doesn't include Isa Briones either, who stands a chance. The 4 that I have are Taylor Dearden, Fiona Dourif, Supriya Ganesh, and Tracy Ifakur. I think that those 4 actresses gave my favorite performances of the season, so those are the 4 that I have. Tyler, do you have any of the supporting actresses from The Pit on your ballot?
Yes, I actually do. So I have one from the pit, and it was the last one you mentioned, Tracy Feature,
Yeah.
Dr. Heather Collins. And it's like you said with Severance, I haven't been able to watch all of the pit yet. Like, I'm very much in like the first few episodes of it. So it could change, like if later on maybe. But as far as what I've seen, that was who I felt was award worthy so far from what I've seen.
I didn't think any of the actresses in season 3, this is going to be a lot for a lot of people to hear. I don't think any of the actresses in season 3 of The White Lotus are deserving of Emmy Award nominations. I'm sure you probably have at least 2 or 3 on your list. So tell me why I'm wrong.
So I do. I have 2 on my list.
I think there will be at least 3 nominated, by the way.
Yeah, I definitely think, 3 or even 4, honestly,
Mhm.
could be nominated. The 2 that I have on my list are Natasha Rothwell, who plays Belinda Lindsay, and Amy Lou Wood, who plays Chelsea. Amy Lou Wood was just such a great free spirit as Chelsea. And then Belinda Lindsay, like the moral dilemma involved with her character was just so interesting to see. I feel like it kind of made us really think, what if we were presented with this? What would we do? And I think she played the nuances of that just perfectly. So those 2 were good. But I also really, I mean, like, I thought the actresses were really good in The White Lotus. Like, Carrie Coon was also good. She didn't make my list, but I
She'll
thought
be a
she was
lock.
good.
She's going to be a lock.
Yeah.
In fact, she's probably the favorite to win the category, I would
She
think.
is. She is, and it's. I don't know. Like, for me, like, she didn't make my list. But I mean, I see why she could be the favorite. But she didn't make my list. But yeah, I just thought. I mean, even Michelle Monaghan was good. But it playing a role that I feel like it was a kind of a role that any actress could have played. Honestly, though, so I don't look forward to seeing her nominated. But she was still great too. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Like, I thought the actresses were really good in like playing like really complex characters, but the 2 that I nominated, Natasha Rothwell and Amy Lou Wood, were probably the 2 that I enjoyed the most.
Maybe it's just that I can't stand the characters on this show so much that I don't think the performances stood out to me. But I will also say I did like Amy Lou Wood's performance. She would be the one that would have made my ballot if I had room. I just with only 7 spots, I just don't have the room, especially with 4 of them, especially with how good the ladies from the pit were. But Parker Posey's going to be a lock. I know she will be. There's a chance Leslie Bibb might make it, like you said. Michelle Monaghan may make it. And I think there's a good chance Natasha Rothwell. I think you could be looking at 5 out of the 7 of these spots being from the White Lotus. And that just kind of bugs me because I feel like that's one of the shows where people just kind of check off on their ballots without thinking a whole lot of when there are other performances out there like the ones from the pit that deserve it, the attention.
Julian, I will say one thing. You were talking about characters that you didn't like, like about them being characters you really didn't like. One for me was like Parker Posey was somebody I never even thought about nominated because I hated her character so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah, but I
I
swear
hated
she'll be a lock.
I hated her character so bad, and it's like that's the reason I could not nominate her because even though she was good, I just hated her character so bad.
Yeah.
Um, so just
Another actress who I think is going to be a lock, uh, although I've only seen 3 episodes of season 2 so far, is Patricia Arquette from Severance, and I think she, depending on what happened in that season, she could be a threat to some of the White Lotus ladies if they vote split.
Yeah. See, for Patricia Arquette, like if she, there's one episode towards the end of the season that, I know, they submit episodes, for wins, and, if she submits that episode, it was a really good episode. Patricia Arquette didn't make my list, which was she was kind of one of the ones that just barely didn't. It was kind of like had her there, and then where as I reassessed, she got taken off. But it's because I kind of look at seasons as a whole, not just as an episode, And
Mm-hmm.
she had one really good episode, but I don't feel like as a season whole that she was the supporting actress in a drama series, and that's why she didn't make it on my list.
Yeah. I've got 2 more on my list. One is an actress who I don't think will be nominated, but she stands a pretty decent chance. And the other is one who absolutely will not be nominated. The one that absolutely will not be nominated is Vereda Sethu, who played the new companion on the most recent season of Disney Plus's and the BBC's Doctor Who. The Emmys don't give a damn about sci-fi, at least since the 90s when the X-Files was a hit. I think her role as Belinda in the depending on how you look at it, either the second season or the 15th season of Doctor Who. Fans of the show will know what I'm talking about. It's ridiculous, though. I thought she was really good. The one that stands a little bit of a chance, but I just think will be pushed out by so many of the White Lotus ladies, is Isabella Merced, who played Dina in the second season of HBO's The Last of Us. I know the season was controversial, but I quite enjoyed it. And maybe one of the biggest reasons I enjoyed it was Merced's performance as Dina. Who do you have rounding out your ballot?
So I have to say, like in this category, I felt the most rebellious in this category, probably out of all of them, just because I was like, I really went with, like what I would want to see, like 100%, like didn't let anything, like I just completely blocked out anything, like in this category. Because um, I'll tell you, so who I have left, let's see. So we did the White Lotus and the Pit. So one show that I think really excelled in quality in the third season was Bridgerton, which Bridgerton did get nominated for season one for drama series, and then the Duke of Hastings was nominated in Best Actor. Reggie Jean Page was nominated, and then second season it was kind of overlooked, but rightfully so because the second season was not very good. But the third season came back guns blazing, really good. And so I have 2 entries for in my best supporting actress for from Bridgerton, and they are Joa Ando, who plays Lady Danbury, and Claudia Jesse, who plays Eloise Bridgerton. Lady Danbury is kind of like what the equivalent of like Maggie Smith in Downton Abbey and Bridgerton. Just great one-liners, absolutely hilarious, elegant. Just she plays it to 100% perfection. And Eloise Bridgerton, like the scenes where she finds out who Lady Whistledown is just some fantastic, and would love to see her nominated. So I have those two Bridgerton ladies. I also nominated Olivia Cooke, who plays Allison Hightower in House of the Dragon. She plays the villainess so well. She plays the woman who is like, okay, I'm going to vote for this, but like it's not going to apply to me. But then it gets applied to her kind of in that setting, like for how we would see it today in that setting is kind of what she has to deal with, and I think she handles it just beautifully. And then rounding out my category is Sky P. Marshall, who plays Olympia in Matlock. I
Okay.
think she's fantastic and would love. I think she has a long shot chance, but like you said, with this probably going to be a White Lotus love fest, I don't see it happening.
I enjoyed Sky P. Marshall's performance in Matlock. I'm a little bit surprised that she didn't submit in lead actress, even though, of course, Kathy Bates would also be in that category. But I can see her in supporting actress too. I'm just it's almost like there's a co-lead situation there with Matlock.
Oh yes, absolutely, yeah.
I think Bridgerton is dead as far as the Emmys goes. Nicola Coughlan may have a little bit of a shot at getting into the lead actress category, but I just don't see any of that happening. Olivia Cooke, I think, is one that is a long shot, but definitely more likely than the two you had from Bridgerton.
Mm-hmm,
Let's
definitely.
go. Let's go to actress in a drama. Uh, my number one on my category is going to be a lock and could be considered the favorite to win, and that is Kathy Bates from the aforementioned Matlock. And I kind of hate that I put her on my ballot, and I kind of hate that she is going to be a lock for a nomination. Now, I don't hate it because she's not worthy. I wouldn't have her here if I didn't think she was worthy. I just think Kathy Bates is the kind of name that people vote for, even when she's not deserving of an award. And that may come up again later in the show with somebody else. But I think that there were better actress in a drama performances, including the four that I'm about to list on the rest of my ballot. But I think people see Kathy Bates' name and they just check the box by it. You have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see where you're coming from with that. She's on my list as well. But I definitely think get where you're coming from though, because like I know we've talked about this as far as like even Meryl Streep and with Only Murders in the Building, like she, I think the last time she was nominated, really, could have. I think that she was propelled by her name a lot.
Oh
You
yeah,
know, she
she's
did.
the one I was alluding to that might come up later when we get to comedies, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. People need to actually watch what they're nominating and voting for.
Oh yeah, because even great actors and actresses can be in clunkers.
Yeah. Uh, the rest of my list, there's one who's a lock. That's Britt Lower for playing Helly and Severance. There's one that's kind of that could be in or might not be in, which is Bella Ramsey for The Last of Us, which is actually of the ones on my ballot that I've seen the entire series of. That would be my preferred winner. For playing Ellie in the second season of The Last of Us, she really has to shoulder much of the load in the second season, and I think she does it supremely. The other two, Carrie Preston might have a little bit of a shot for her role as Elsbeth Tassioni in Elsbeth on CBS, but the fact that Kathy Bates is going to get there also from CBS, I think, lessens her chance. She probably wasn't going to get there anyway. And then the fifth one on my list is Katja Herbers, who plays the lead role in Evil, which I talked about with Michael Emerson. And I think her performance through 4 seasons on that show was superb. And the fact that she was never even really in the Emmy talk just kind of bothers me. So those are the five on my list. Who do you have joining Kathy Bates on yours?
Well, I will tell you, Julian, we only have one different on this in this category.
Okay.
Because I have Kathy Bates, Britt Lower, Carrie Preston, and Bella Ramsey all
Okay.
in the category as well.
So I'm gonna assume, since you have not seen Evil, that you will have replaced Katja Herbers with Nicola Coughlan.
Oh, you perfect. You got it. Yeah,
So
Penelope Featherington.
you stand a better chance at getting yours correct than I do, I think, because if there is going to be a nomination for any of the actors or actresses on Bridgerton, it will definitely be Coughlan.
She killed it with that season. That was her season. and she killed it. I would love for them. She did get in at the Screen Actors Guild Awards, but that doesn't mean anything for the Emmys, you know.
It might help her chances, but I think I, I don't know how much. Let's go to actor in a drama series. I've got two that I think are locks. One that stands a chance, one that is a dark horse, and then one that has no shot in hell. And that's the one that I'm kind of bothered about because this guy deserves more recognition than he gets. So let's just start with that. The one that has no shot in hell is Zahn McClarnon, who plays the sheriff. Sorry, he's not the sheriff. He's the police chief of the reservation police and Dark Winds, which is an AMC drama set in the 1970s. And Zahn McClarnon has been one of the best and most underrated actors on television over the last decade. And he can do it all, drama and comedy. He was in Reservation Dogs, which anybody who has listened to this podcast during Emmy season knows that I think was very underrated and was never nominated as many times as it should have been at the Emmys. So I think Zahn McClarnon would be a great nominee for lead actor in a drama series. Is just not going to happen. The one that I think is a dark horse is because he was nominated for the first season of a show and because he is an all-time acting legend, and that is Jeff Bridges from FX's The Old Man. Again, like I said with John Lithgow, it didn't have as much talk in the second season, even though I thought it was outstanding. So if he gets in, it may be because of his name, more so than people watching the show, which I wouldn't really like, but he does deserve it if you did watch the show. Do you have any on your ballot who you don't think really stand a chance?
You know, I feel like all five of them stand a pretty good chance. Like, I don't think I'd be surprised if any of them were nominated. But I think the biggest, which is kind of weird to say this, I think the farthest fetched one is um, Lee Jong Jae for the Squid
Okay,
Game.
and he
Like,
won for season one, right?
he did win for season one, but I just don't know how in love with the show the Emmys are going to continue to be in season two. Season
Mm-hmm.
two wasn't as good as the first season, in my opinion, and I think a lot of people shared that same viewpoint. So, kind of curious if the love will continue for Squid Game, honestly. So, it's kind of crazy to say that as since he won for his first season, but I could see him also not getting there.
Okay, speaking of guys who were nominated for the first season of their show who may fall out this year, and I kind of want to. It's kind of going to be hard to say this without getting into spoilers. I'm not going to outright spoil it, but I will say if you don't want to know anything about this, you might want to skip ahead a minute or two. So Pedro Pascal was not in the entire second season of HBO's The Last of Us. And I think if rules surrounding the Emmy acting categories were fair, Pedro Pascal would have been dropped down to supporting actor in a drama series this year. But there's a rule that states if you have been in a category previously, you cannot drop down to either supporting or guest. So that locks Pedro Pascal into the lead actor in a drama series category for The Last of Us. I still think he's probably going to be nominated, and he definitely makes my ballot for the mostly 2 episodes that he or 3 episodes that he's really in. But I could see him falling out because of this. What do you think about Pedro Pascal?
Yeah, he definitely made my list because he's fantastic, and I am so sad
Mhm.
what happened. Um, but yeah, it's really just because of the rules. Because in all honesty, he should have been able to go for guest, but I feel like that's the whole reason this happened too, because Claire
Because of
Foy thing.
because of 1 2 second shot in an episode, he actually was in more than 50% of the episodes as well.
Oh, I didn't realize that either.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
barely he would have had to have been in supporting
yeah.
if allowed.
It literally just like Claire Foy, getting nominated for and maybe even winning. I can't remember if she won for that, little monologue.
It's kind of
In the
screwed
town.
up things when it comes to the Emmy rules.
Yeah, because I mean, I get why they made the rule, but it kind of
Yeah,
makes situations like this not seem as fair.
yeah. Thanks a lot, Claire Foy.
Yeah, for real.
Um, so I've got two more on my, and I will state that I've only seen the first 3 episodes of Hulu's Paradise. I think Sterling K. Brown has been fantastic in those 3 episodes, but not good enough yet for him to have made my top five. Even though I do think he will be nominated, whereas somebody like Zon McLaren on my list won't be. But the next two guys that I have finalizing my lead actor in a drama series ballot are the two who I think will be the front runners, and it could go either way when it comes to September with winning, and that is Adam Scott for Severance and Noah Wiley for The Pit.
Yeah, my list also has Adam Scott and Noah Wiley as well, and then Pascal Jung-jae, and then my final spot was for Sterling K. Brown in Paradise. Sterling K. Brown is just freaking fantastic. I just
Mm-hmm.
love. He makes me want to see everything he's done every time I watch a series with him. Um, I'm a little further than you. I think I'm on episode 6. But he's just killing it. I mean, I think he kills everything he does, though. But
Yeah, he does. And he's a guy who's been in this category before and won it for This Is Us, so we know Emmy voters love him, rightfully so.
yes.
Speaking of a guy Emmy voters love who's won this category before, and I'm only halfway through this first season, but I think John Hamm is pretty good in Your Friends and Neighbors on Apple TV Plus. It's just that I haven't seen enough of it yet to have put him over one of the other guys on my ballot. Did you have any? Was that all 5 of yours?
Yes.
Okay.
Speaking of that, I think I heard somewhere that show that you were just talking about John Hamm. I think that could be. I think I read somewhere where that could kind of be a surprise Emmy morning in some categories.
He might get in. I don't know that in anywhere. I don't really see anywhere else. Maybe drama series because there's 8 nominees in that, which we're about to get to. I think 8 nominees for drama series this year is a lot. Because I had trouble filling mine out. But yeah, it may stand a chance of getting in there. But mostly, if it's going to get anything on Tuesday, I think it would be John Hamm. But again, 5 actors in a category is not a whole lot, so he'd have to probably push somebody out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there are 8 nominees for drama series. I have 2 only that I think are locks, which is wild. I've got 1 that's probably going to make it, a second that's a dark horse, and then I have 4. Half of my ballot is shows that I know have no shot. I just really liked them. Let's do the ones that have no shot. I just really liked. The Old Man season 2 FX, Will Trent, which I think is the best drama currently on network television on ABC. Dark Winds, which I mentioned from AMC. Now I'm only halfway through that 3rd season of that show too, so who knows? It could fall out. And then I there's just too many spots in this category. I put NCIS Origins in my 8th spot just because I enjoyed the first season so much. The show that I think stands a pretty good chance, but again, I'm only 3 episodes in, that I put on my ballot is Paradise from Hulu. The one that I think could fall out that was nominated for season 1, but I still think was good enough to get in is HBO's the 2nd season of The Last of Us. And then the 2 locks that I have are The Pit and Severance. I know The White Lotus is a lock here. I just did not think it was good enough to get into my top 8. What does your ballot look like for drama series?
So I have some of the same ones as you. So I have on my list Bridgerton, The Last of Us, Matlock, Paradise, The Pit, Severance, Squid Game, and The White Lotus.
Okay, yours come Tuesday. Your category will have more correct than mine, but I just some of those shows you mentioned I just never got into or watched, and then others I just like Matlock and The White Lotus. I didn't think were good enough to supplant some of the shows that I put in that I know have no shot.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything else you want to say about those dramas, or you want to switch on over to comedy series?
No, I think that was pretty much it. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's go over to comedy, and we'll start with supporting actresses and actors as well. This is the one that I feel more I feel more passionate about these categories, and I had a lot of shows, unlike the drama, that could have made it in, and just I did not have space for them. But supporting actor in a comedy series, God, I wish all 7 of these guys could make it. I know some will. I know some probably don't stand a chance, but I would love it. I've got 3 actors from Shrinking on my list, and that doesn't even include Michael Urie, who is excellent in the 2nd season of Shrinking, the Apple TV Plus show. I've got Harrison Ford, who I think is a lock. I've got Brett Goldstein, who has won this category for Ted Lasso in the past. I think voters like him a lot, and he did a very good job in season 2, but is also the most dramatic performance in season 2, which could hurt. And then I've got Ted McGinley, who plays Derek, who is so charming and funny on that show. And Ted McGinley's been doing this for so many years and hasn't gotten the recognition he probably deserves. So I've got him on my ballot, even though I don't think he stands a chance at actually being nominated come Tuesday. How many? I know that you recently found Shrinking and that you probably have multiples on your ballot. How many from Shrinking made it on yours?
So yes, Shrinking is like my find of the year that I just love so much. Like it was out of all my nominations, it's the most nominated on my ballot. Love it so much. I actually have 3 as well in this category. From there, I only have one different than yours. I have Harrison Ford and I have Ted McGinley, but I have Michael Urie instead of Brett Goldstein, and that probably was, even though I think Brett Goldstein's freaking fantastic. I just found it a little more dramatic, and that probably made it. Probably was probably part of the reason that I made Michael Urie my nominated over him. But yeah, I have all 3 of those. Just Shrinking is definitely my find of the year that I love so much.
Yeah, it's a great show that I still don't think a lot of people have found yet. And they really need to get to as soon as they finish this podcast. A guy who's won this category before that I have coming back is Tyler James Williams from Abbott Elementary. But he's also one, of course, he plays a teacher, Gregory Eddy, on that show. He's amazing. He does so much with his eyes and facial features to make people laugh, probably more so than anybody else right now in the business. But he's the name that I think some people think might actually fall out this year. Did you have Tyler James Williams on your ballot?
I do have him on my ballot, but he was one of the last ones that I ended up putting on the list actually because of there was just so many good performances.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I will say he was the last name to make mine as well.
yeah, yeah, and I think and if their voters are thinking like we are, like as far as like who's definitely needs to be there, if enough people feel that way, then he could fall out.
Also on my list, and these are 2 names that I don't think this guy stands a chance, but I would love it. It's Jeff Hiller for the 3rd and final season of HBO's Somebody Somewhere. Fantastic performance. I just doesn't seem like that show got enough recognition to really get in there. I think Somebody Somewhere is taking the mantle of Reservation Dogs for me as a show that just never really got its due from the Emmys. Who knows? Reservation Dogs got 1 or 2 nominations in its final season for last year, so we'll see. Another guy who I think has a chance, but I'm not sure because there's just so many. There's more outstanding performances than nomination spots. Is Timothy Simons for Netflix's Nobody Wants This? Is that the name? I can't remember.
Nobody likes this, or was it once this? It was Nobody Wants This.
Okay, yeah, it's been so long since I saw that show. It was kind of came out at the first part of eligibility. Timothy Simons is a former nominee in this category for Veep. I think he's hilarious, and nobody likes this, or whatever. Nobody wants this. Let me look up what
Sorry, I
the
just looked it up. It's Nobody Wants This because I
nobody
wasn't
wants
sure
this.
either.
Yeah. Uh, Sorry about that, listeners. But I think Timothy Simons deserves a spot. And then my final spot goes to Paul W. Downs for the 4th season of Hacks, which I'm currently still watching, but Paul W. Downs deserves to be here either way.
Yes, Paul W. Downs made my list as well. And I don't remember the name of the guy from Nobody Wants This that you just said. What was
Timothy
his name?
Simons.
Timothy Simons. He was somebody that almost made my list because his character is hilarious on that
Mm-hmm.
show. He was one of the ones that was one of the last minute cuts. It was between him and Tyler James Williams for
Mm-hmm.
the last spot. Um, so that
I
shows you
think
that.
Michael Urie was probably my last cut. I already had 3 from Shrinking, and I didn't want to push it with a 4th.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so yeah, let's see. So I'm trying to think
A
of
lot of people think Bowen Yang is going to get his usual spot in this category. Listen, guys, I love Bowen Yang on SNL. He does not deserve it. If anybody from Saturday Night Live deserved it this year, it would be James Austin Johnson. And I know people will roll their eyes because the reason why he would deserve it is because he does a terrific Donald Trump impression. I know we don't want to really see that. We hate that we still have to see that. But if somebody from SNL deserved it, it would be James Austin Johnson, who has like no name recognition, whereas Bowen Yang does.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the last spots on your ballot.
All right. So it looks like the last two spots on mine um, is Evan Moss
Mm-hmm.
Backrack. Sorry, I can't never say that right. Evan Moss Backrack for playing Richie and the Bear.
And he's
Um,
probably a lock. And
yeah,
I can't believe that season 3 was so disappointing to me. And even though I say that, I don't think it was as bad as a lot of people think it was, but I can't believe it was so disappointing to me that I couldn't fit Eben Moss Backrack in my ballot.
yeah, he was. Yeah, and he was like I said, he was one of the one of the like probably before Tyler James Williams. Like he was towards the bottom
Mm-hmm.
as well. But he's probably my favorite thing about the Bear this last season. I just love his character Richie so much. Um, but let's see. The other one was the last one was Ike Barinholtz, who plays Sal on the Studio. I think he is.
I'm only halfway through the studio, and I think Ike Barinholtz is hilarious. It's just that there's so much love and heart in these performances that I have on my ballot. And as I mentioned the other day on social media, I just Studio is one of the funniest shows of the year, but it doesn't really have any heart in its performance. And I know people are rolling their eyes at me. This is a comedy category. It should only matter with the laughs. But for some reason, I like to have a lot of heart in my comedy.
Yeah, I mean it is a very cynical show for sure. I definitely get your point. You know.
Yeah. We'll be talking a little bit about the studio, I'm sure, as we go on through these categories. Was that the last one on your ballot for supporting actor in a comedy?
Yes, that was the last one.
Okay. I've got 2 actresses from Shrinking in my supporting actress in a comedy series, and that does not include Lakita Maxwell, who I think is excellent as the daughter. I'm forgetting her name at the moment. Maybe you can remind me.
Oh gosh, I just spent forever watching that show and I don't remember her name.
It doesn't matter. She didn't make my ballot. It really doesn't matter. But I've got Jessica Williams as Gabby, and I got Krista Miller. I really should have written character names down. Krista Miller plays Jimmy, Jason Segel's neighbor in the show, and I think she's excellent. So I've got those 2 from Shrinking. I've got 2 from Hacks. I got Hannah Einbinder, who, if she doesn't finally win this award for this category, I'm going to throw something through my television. And I also think Megan Stalter should be nominated for Hacks.
Yes. So I am
Uh,
so happy she's there on your list.
I know Cheryl Lee Ralph is going to be a lock for Abbott Elementary, but I don't think she deserves it this year. However, Janelle James does deserve to be nominated again for Abbott Elementary. In all of my acting categories, I only have 1 actor or actress from The Bear, which, if you had told me this before the 3rd season, I would tell you you're out of your mind. But I only have Liza Colon Zayas from The Bear. The episode Napkins is amazing, and I think she deserves to be nominated. But I also think, based on when that episode aired last year during the voting period, I think that episode is why she won this award last year, even though she was nominated for season 2. So I kind of think that almost it should, in some ways, keep her from winning again. And then my final spot is Mary Catherine Garrison, who plays Bridget Everett's sister in Somebody Somewhere, and I think she's amazing on that show, but does not stand a chance of being nominated. So how many of my 7 did you have on yours?
Let's see. Pretty almost all of them. I had. Did you have Cheryl Lee Ralph?
I had to kick Shirley Ralph out.
Okay,
I
she was.
think
I
she
was
I
glad you
think
said.
she's a lock to be nominated, though.
Yeah, so I had her. I think everybody because I had Is it Einbinder again? Einbinder.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Einbinder. I have Janelle James, Krista Miller, Cheryl Lee Ralph, Megan Stalter, and Jessica Williams. So I guess the only other one that I had that you didn't was Catherine O'Hara.
Mm-hmm.
In the studio is Patty Lee. I thought Catherine O'Hara is just hilarious,
She
and
is. Of the 4 episodes I've seen, she's only really been heavily featured in one of them, maybe. So I don't have her. I think she will definitely be a lock to be nominated, though. And there's a good chance that Catherine Hahn will be nominated too, even though it's a character that I haven't really gotten into yet in the episodes I've seen.
Yeah, she's the one that I could see nominated. That, like, you were talking about like not having heart.
Mhm.
She's the one that, like, while she is funny, like, she was somebody that,
She's too old to be playing that character.
yeah, she's just like, I mean, I love the studio, and like, and even when I was coming up with these nominations, her name never crossed my mind to go on this list, and I think that's part of it.
Mhm. Was that the end of that category for you?
Yes, yes.
Okay, let's go to best. Or sorry, I keep wanting to say best. When it comes to the Emmys, it is outstanding. So sorry, outstanding actress in a comedy series. Two of these folks, I think, are locks. Uh, one's a possibility. One's a very dark horse, and the other I don't really see happening. The two that I think are locks are Jean Smart, who has won for the first three seasons of Hacks, and I think she has to be the favorite. I do wonder if Jean Smart shouldn't do the old Candice Bergen if she wins again and pull her name from recognition in the future. I'm not really sure how I feel about that, though. If you're the best, you might as well keep going at it. And then the other one that I think is a lock, which might be surprising to some people, is Kristen Bell from Netflix's Nobody Wants This. Um, I think Natasha Lyonne could be nominated for the second season of Poker Face, and she's made my ballot. I think she's really good in that show on Peacock. I think a lot of people still haven't gotten around to it, probably because it's on Peacock. The dark horse is Bridget Everett from Somebody Somewhere. If she's going to make it, it's her time to do it. I just doubt it's going to happen. And then the last one on my ballot is Natasha Demetrio from the final season of FX's great vampire comedy, What We Do in the Shadows. I just don't think that that's going to happen. And it's kind of out of the conversation since it aired last fall. Which five actresses do you have?
So I have Jean Smart.
I will say it was a very hard cutting Quinta Brunson from Abbott Elementary, who I know is going to be a lock.
Yeah, yeah. So I have Jean Smart and Kristen Bell as Kristen Bell, and then I also did have Quinta Brunson. It's funny though what you're saying about Kristen Bell though, because she seems like she'd be a lock, but she has never been nominated for an Emmy, and like so
That
many people
surprises me. Yeah.
be in for The Good Place on one of those
Yeah.
seasons. She never did, and so it even though it feels like she's almost a lock, and she probably is. I think it's just one of those
Well,
things people.
I don't know because I don't have Quinta Brunson or Io Edebiri on my list, so maybe she's not a lock.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, I mean, like you're saying, she may not be a lock, but I don't know. But even I feel like she'll make it for some
Yeah,
reason. So,
she definitely
uh,
deserves it in my opinion.
yeah. So the other two I have is Selena Gomez for Only Murders in the Building, and then the
Mhm.
last one is I kind of shocked myself that it because I even though I loved the performance, I didn't think when I would compile a list it would make it. But is Catherine Hahn in Agatha All Along
Okay.
as Agatha Harkness. She was so good in WandaVision, and then just like I was excited that they made a show surrounding her. Too, and I just thought she's just hilarious in it. And so and apparently they're supposed to work on a second season, so apparently she does fit into this category.
Yes, so she has a chance to be in both lead and supporting actress categories for the comedies. Um, I like Selena Gomez and Only Murders in the Building. I thought season 4 was worlds better than season 3, which I thought was really disappointing. I don't have a single actor or actress from that show on my ballot though, which might be surprising to some. Martin Short won the SAG award, so he's one of those big names that might actually be a favorite for actor in a comedy, which we're about to get to. My nominees are Jason Segel for Shrinking, which is not a lock, though I think it should be. The one lock on my ballot is Seth Rogen for The Studio, who, if anybody is going to give Martin Short a run for his money, would probably be him. I've got Kai Van Novak for the final season of What We Do in the Shadows. I don't think he's going to be nominated, though. I have Ted Danson for his excellent performance in Netflix's A Man on the Inside. Uh, he's probably a long shot. And then I have Adam Brody for Nobody Wants This, also on Netflix. I do think Adam Brody will get in come Tuesday.
Yeah, so we have three that are the same on
I'm
this.
guessing Siegel, Rogan, and Brody.
Yep, Siegel, Rogan, and Brody. You got it.
Say,
Yeah.
is your category filled out by the two leads on Only Murders in the Building?
Well, it's funny. One of them is Martin Short as Oliver Putnam and Only Murders in the Building. Love him to death. And actually, I almost had Steve Martin in the rounding out the category. But there's a show that I've recently been watching, and I've still got to finish the season. But the few episodes I saw, I loved, and that is it's on Hulu. It's called Mid Century Modern,
Mm.
and it's got Nathan Lane in it, who plays this character named Bunny, and it's basically like kind of like a Golden Girl situation. They have these older gay men, lose a friend of theirs, and they decide to move in together, and like escapades happen, just fun times, and Nathan Lane is just hilarious in it, and I'm haven't finished the season yet, but I've loved everything I've seen so far.
All right. Yeah, and he's a former Emmy winner for guest spot on Only Murders in the Building, and a many-time nominee. But he finally won that one a few years ago for Only Murders. Um, I had 15 comedies in the running for Outstanding Comedy Series. Only 8 could make it, so that shows how good comedy has been this year. Um, I have a show that's kind of, unfortunately, due to some controversy, that's kind of fallen under the radar after great critical acclaim last summer when it debuted, and that is English Teacher on FX. The controversy involves Brian Jordan Alvarez, the creator and lead actor in the series. Uh, I don't know a whole lot about it, but I still think the show was funny enough that it should be nominated despite that controversy. So I've got English Teacher. I, of course, have Hacks, the reigning winner in this category on HBO Max. I've got Nobody Wants This on Netflix. I have season 2 of Shrinking on Apple TV Plus. I have Somebody Somewhere on HBO. I have The Studio on Apple TV Plus. I have the final season of FX is What We Do in the Shadows. And then I have one on here that I've only seen the first couple of episodes of season 2, but I loved season 1 so much when it aired 3 years ago in 2022 that I just expect to love the rest of season 2. And it is a show that I think nobody has watched, so it stands no chance at all. But it is one starring comedian Mohammed Amir on Netflix called Mo. So people should watch that, and it made my ballot, which means shows like Only Murders the Bear, Poker Face, Abbott Elementary did not. I've been watching the 4 seasons on Netflix. It's pretty good, but it didn't quite crack my ballot as well. What 8 shows made your comedy series a ballot?
Okay, so we have four of the same ones. We have Hacks, Nobody Wants This, Shrinking in the Studio.
Mhm.
The other four that I have are Abbott Elementary, Agatha All Along, Mid Century Modern, and Only Murders in the Building.
Okay, I'll give you Abbott and Only Murders because I think those are going to be locks. I don't think the other two are going to make it, but they stand a better chance than something like Mo.
Yeah, and and it's funny too. Like it's kind of funny how we're different in this because I had harder time filling out comedy than I did drama. So
Yeah,
I
I
guess
kind of did too because there was just, I mean, my alternates for comedy series are still fantastic shows. Whereas I was having trouble filling out drama series. I think 8 for drama is a lot, but they base it, on how many nominees there are, and there are a lot of great shows. I don't think a lot of the big time dramas I just don't really get into as much as some of the comedies. You have anything you want to add before we end the show?
no, only thing I want to say is that the biggest hope that I have for the Emmy out of like as far as my wish list is just that the first season of Shrinking was only nominated for Jason Segel and Jessica Williams. That's the only two nominations it got. I am just really hoping to see like a dramatic increase in nominations, like in outstanding comedy series. I'm hoping support some of those amazing supporting actors get in. I think it'd be great if Kristen Miller got in. That's my biggest hope is that Shrinking is just blows up in nominations. That's probably my biggest wish for Emmy morning.
I don't know that it's gonna blow up. That's one of my wishes too. I don't know that it's gonna blow up. I do think it will get in comedy series, and I do think Harrison Ford will get in, but that could be the extent of it. And then Jason Segel may fall out, and Jessica Williams may fall out. So who knows? The Segel and Williams may just end up being replaced by comedy series and Harrison Ford.
I will
We'll
be
see.
very upset if Jessica Williams is not there. She's probably
Yeah,
one of
I
my
will.
favorite.
Honestly, she would be number 2 on my should win list behind Hannah Einbinder.
I agree.
Yeah.
And if Hannah Einbinder would have won in a previous year that she already should have,
Yes.
then we could go for Jessica
Yes.
Williams.
Jessica Williams honestly would be my favorite if that were the case. All
Thank
right, so we shall see what the nominations for the 77th annual Primetime Emmy Awards look like when they're announced on Tuesday morning, July 15th, which should be tomorrow when you're listening to this podcast. So thanks for joining me, Tyler, and we'll be, I'm sure, doing more talk and writing about the Emmy Awards when those nominations are revealed.
Sounds good. Last thing, the Emmys
Mhm.
have some IOUs in supporting actress in comedy series. That Williams, Einbinder, and then Janelle James. They have some IOUs.
I agree with that. All right, you have a good one.
You too.